In photography, nothing has really changed. It is just technology. Nothing has really changed. Your ISO is still your ISO. Your speed is still your speed. Your aperture is still your aperture. At some point in my journey, I had to stop to further my education.
Good morning, everyone. Good to have you around again. This is the conversation, and today we have a very special guest. One we have been trying hard to get, but eventually we have him here. You're really tired? No. But and not all the lies himself, but it's not allowed to see. But basically, we have Solomon. Nice to meet you again.
So much. Thank you.
It's my fondest memory when we traveled to Tapos.
Yeah,
For 2 days turned into
1 week.
But it was cool. It was a good experience. So straight to the point, a little bit of your background story. I know you have a rich history coming from digital into analog. I have one analog I bought for, what do you call this thing again? You buy antique and yeah. So I don't have experience. I tried to develop an interest, but I realized that films are expensive. So it was just going to be on the shelf or a reminder of our history. So you have a rich history coming from that background. Can you give them a brief version?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. My name is Solomon Akilain. I am the fourth child of Mr. Gabriel Akilain, who happens to be a photographer. He was a photographer, sunrise photos. So I think my journey into photography started when I sometimes follow him to the dark room when he's doing post-production, as we call it now, in the dark room, as told you those days. So I get to enjoy the science, because then they'll have to mix chemical with some measurements and everything. So I get to enjoy the science. So I wasn't still doing photography at Japan. But after my secondary school, if I'm not mistaken, I went on a short leave in my uncle's place, who also happens to be a photographer, Daily Creations. So from there, I got the love, and then I ventured into photography. So like you mentioned just now, that film is a bit expensive. I think it's because of the demand now. The demand is low, and then to get it is difficult. I'm sure that's why the price is up. The last time I bought film was about 200 naira or 220 naira, and that was like 2004, if I'm not mistaken. So photography is something that is like family to me. There's hardly any male child in my house that I've not handled a professional camera.
So if I'll draw a timeline, I would say like I came in 7-8 years, so you should be like double or triple that.
Okay, professional, I started in 2000.
No. Let's leave professional, like from your first experience with photography. Professionally is basically when you started making money. Like that's what we make professional, right?
What go by that? From my first experience taking photos all by myself, if I was in SS1, I had a Yashica camera. It's a point and shoot for a little bit of technicalities, thing, but not the regular point and shoots you see. So I was in a Yashica camera. Even in secondary school pictures that we have, most of my secondary school mates, I was one that took the pictures.
So
let's give or take, let's say 24 years.
That's enough. Will I be married by now? Yeah, about that age for a lady should be considering marriage. The other exclusive, of course. So basically like a grandfather. Okay, now something interesting caught me. You said dark room.
Yes.
And now we have Lightroom.
Yes.
So it's going to lead me to a very interesting question. The role of technology.
Yeah.
And how it's making certain cultures in technology and photography obsolete, and what it's doing to the, I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure.
So first off, from darkroom to lightroom. So it's just going to be like symbolism for us asking you the question. So what's your assessment of technology and has affecting the culture of photography?
Okay. I think in photography, nothing has really changed. It is just technology. Nothing has really changed. Your ISO is still your ISO. Your speed is still your speed. Your aperture is still your aperture. So, as it was in the days of analog, it is your film that controls your ISO. So if you're buying your film, you tell them I want ISO 100, ISO 400, ISO 800, like that. So now they were able to put it into the camera. So that has not changed. The speed and aperture, as you know, has still not changed. The darkroom, the difference between darkroom and what we call Lightroom now is that then when you're making your exposure, you don't see any form of light until the process is completed. So there's no form of light. When you are working in the darkroom, you are not seeing what you're doing. It is from experience that you know that, yes, I have to give counting. When you're fixing or you're developing, you have to give counting. You have to tell yourself that, let me count 25, depending on the intensity of the printer that you're using as tools, the light from the printer. So when you're giving your counting, just the same way you do on your Lightroom, you want to expose your aperture, you want to open up your exposure by stops, you just move the slider.
No. So that is what you'd be like, you use like counting to
just count, or now you just move your slider. So it's just technology has changed in photography.
so you don't get threatened.
At all. It even makes the work, easier for the photographer. It makes it easier. And then, you know what competition does? It gives you an opportunity to explore more. Assuming we're seeing those days, maybe would have been sleeping now. Won't have been here taking, making such conversation.
Yes, I see. That's true. That's an interesting perspective. I struggled with that thoughts as an individual. In fact, I am of the opinion. It's not only an opinion, I think it's a fact that technology eventually will shape culture, and huge culture as we now know it. But what has been your experience, generally, as a photographer, particularly in the last 10 years? I want to hear your perspective on that. I want to tie that question to something else. We live in this our client being. What's your assessment and development in terms of skill, manpower, and the likes of those things, and particularly how you have experienced?
Okay, I think there's a part of me that I did not mention in my introduction. At some point in my journey, I had to stop to further my education. I studied marine engineering from Maritime Academy of Nigeria, and that took me about 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, 7-8 years out of photography. So I came back to photography full time in December of 2017. So counting down now, I think I have like 6 years or so working in Benin. I think the experience for me has been good. More guys coming out on stream, and then one thing I see about this part of Nigeria, one thing I think we lack here is mentorship. We lack mentorship here. It is mentorship that will give you the needed exposure. You have great guys doing so much, but it's either they don't know why they are doing what they are doing, or they don't even know what they are doing, but it's just working for them. She gets, I know what they say, if ignorance can take you this far, imagine what a bit of knowledge will do. So I think in this part of Nigeria, when it comes to photography, we should do more on mentorship, so that the journey can be shorter, let me put it like that. Yeah. But the experiences, it's been great so far. Back in the days, they tell you some clients cannot pay you what you are asking for and the rest.
Yeah.
The dynamics has changed. As long as you know what you're doing, and then they see and like what you're doing, they are out there.
Basically, we are seeing a filtering. Like things just take shape.
Yes.
Evolve with time.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I owe it to digital photography.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which brought down the entry level. So almost anybody with the phone basically
can take pictures. So when you don't have that time and that particular picture that you want to get, when you don't have it, when you cannot get it in your house with your phone, then you need us. Unlike before, if you don't, you can stay a year without even making a photo of yourself. because there's no phone. So you won't even think of getting a professional photographer. I said it's Christmas.
I think because we basically live in an age of self-publishing.
Yeah.
And there's also that drives the need for those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I noticed you're very particular with dates. So it's not leading to the next question. We quoted December 20th, if I'm not mistaken.
27th.
21.
7th.
What the dates? You said December 20th. And that's I don't remember dates. So if you can remember those kind of dates, it means you are detailed, and that's going to take me into how you shoot and what your basic philosophy is. So the person will be broken down into could you describe yourself first as a portrait, a wedding, or what exactly do you do now? Okay, I don't know what to be tomorrow, and how you then approach it.
Okay, I describe myself as a wedding and portrait photographer. I like the lifestyle also, but for now, I am concentrating on portraits and weddings.
So I'm going to interrupt you because I want it to be very clear. So what you're saying as it stands now is, if your name is mentioned, you would rather be known as a portrait photographer.
Portrait first, then a wedding photographer. I think that's because I started shooting professionally in the University of Benin, in London. So you have students come around. There was one history of that was where I built my portfolio in portrait photography.
Okay. And this first you want to be described as a portrait. You carry that into maybe weddings or events as such maybe. So tell us your approach.
Okay, my approach to photography is I have one principle: do all you can do to get it right in camera.
Okay.
As much as you can. If there's anything I want to take out from photography, which is almost impossible, is that post-production process.
I agree.
So I do everything possible to get my shots right in camera. Sometimes I prefer my raw images than the processed ones.
Okay.
Because I think, being lazy doing post-production, but that's by the way. So another thing I can describe my work, another way I can describe my work is that I believe that light is photography, the understanding of light. So when I'm doing, like I say, when I'm doing all I do to make sure I get it right, the first focus is my lighting. So when I have my lighting completely set, and I'll think about pose, and I'll think about every other element that I'll consider. But my light, the way I approach my lights is very, very, very detailed, and approach my light setup with all
precision.
Yes, precision.
Why I'm driving in that direction, I was having opportunity to see some work that you have done, and sometimes maybe just a little bit of how you try to set up the light, and everything is on, like everything is. When we got here now, I noticed you were turning on the main lights. Yes, so I assume that's the approach you also.
I always like to build my lights. I want to see the main light standing on its own. I want to see my field light standing on its own. If I am reeling, if I'm backlighting, I want to see every light standing on their own. Then when I combine them, I know, assuming I'm shooting now and then there's an interference, I know which one to either turn off, and because I have seen them individually. So when I put them together to make that canvas that I'm building, I know where my light is coming from. That's my approach when I'm shooting.
So would you say to like if you're going to judge in terms of studio and outdoor, like what's the percentage on a scale of 10?
In the last 3 years, I would say more studio.
More studio.
Yes, but in my entire career, let me just say 70% outdoor or 80% outdoor. Like I said, I was shooting in the University of Benin, so it was outdoor for me, natural light.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to discuss any more sensitive issues like pricing and your experiences. Not mostly what you charge. That's not the question, but how has the appreciation with regards to pricing? You know, like when I first started, I remember my first event I ever did, it was 45,000, and to me it was like I didn't have a camera and I think just trusted me. So I've seen the graduation, I've seen appreciation. So pricing and value and appreciation for the work. How has the experience been, particularly with clients who don't value you or don't value the process, not you exactly, or like come and take picture, and those kind of I've had many of those kind of so, but I know that there's an appreciation generally that's coming up because of level of awareness and education has just varied. What has your particular experience been with regards to price and value?
Okay, for me, pricing is a combination of several elements. Where I've been to, the books I've read, the music I've listened to, my experiences as an individual contributes to my price. And then there's the market value you also get factoring. Yeah, you factor the markets that you are in. So that's how I approach my price. But one thing that is of great concern to me is when I see people that value my work, but at the moment cannot afford it.
That's a very
yeah. I consider I use my emotions. Yes, when it comes to those kind of people, I have some guys that tell you. I have some guys that told me like 10 years ago that you go cover my wedding. You get. So when they come now, and then I know them that this person can really not
afford it.
I
find a way.
Yes, I find a way. That's about me. Yeah, I find a way.
Would you say that the level of monetary reward obtained a couple of years back and now, would you say there is some appreciation for the arts?
If I want to put that, Georgia,
I'm also relative to our environment.
Yes, judging by my experience, I won't say it's old enough, because like you mentioned, first wedding you shot was 45,000
naira, please. Yes, false.
45,000 naira. The first wedding I shot was 120,000 naira, and that was in 2005. In 2005. So if you judge that now to what I charge today, I would say that was far better. I'm not saying I charge 150,000 naira, but I'm just looking at the value and how the Nigerian naira has the dynamics of the
to call it. And then nothing.
Okay, I'm sure you know what this is. So I wouldn't say it has really appreciated that much, but it's not so bad. Just living like that, it's not so bad. That's on trend.
So how do you balance art and business, if you know what?
Yes, I approach art with passion, and I approach business with business. So that's what I do. If I do only photography, basically, right? So it is from the same art that I make a living. So when I'm approaching it as art, I do personal jobs. Yes, I do personal jobs. But when when I want to consider business, it is strictly business.
Anyway, is there a meeting point for the arts and business? Like, how do you?
Of course, unless there's always a meeting point. The way I approach that is, I think I learned that from Julian Lakija. When I'm shooting for business, I shoot for my clients, and then when I am rounding up with the shoots, I now shoot for myself.
You can.
Yes. So sometimes when I'm putting out works, it is the one that I actually shoot for myself.
Like you show.
That I share. Sometimes your clients will end up liking it. They'll say, this is what you're trying to do that time. Oh, let's have it. You get. So that's the point where.
So this how like my books.
Okay.
So then experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Do personal project to maybe just keep a share.
Yes.
For you know that there's also business.
Yes, exactly. That's how I approach it.
What would your advice be? Like starting at what or if you had to start now, like what would you do differently?
I think if I want to start now, the first thing I would do, or the first thing I will not do, is to approach technicalities in photography.
Okay.
That will come much later. The first thing I would do is to get a mentor. I think if I am to evaluate myself today, I think I would say my biggest loss in photography was the fact that there was really no mentor.
Speaking of this mentorship, is seeing, because I'm also involved in some other things, I know the value of mentoring in that space.
Yeah.
And think it's really needed.
Mentorship is very important in any field of choice. Well, why I always emphasize it in photography is because I am using my experience. For a very long time, I did photography without any mentor. So I was just there doing my thing, passing through all kind of routes, like the issue that was like it too from Slack. So mentorship is you can't exhaust the benefits of mentorship. Can't exhaust it. So that's why I always say that if I am to start this journey again, the first thing I'll consider is mentorship. So that when I'm even linking the technicality of photography, I know that I am doing it based on a pattern, a full step. The difference is you, the act. The technicality in photography is the same one.
Yeah.
So it is how you approach it that is the difference. So you can have somebody that will mentor you in that line. Then when you are done with the technical parts, then you can now bring in your own artistic into your work. So that's why I always talk about mentorship.
Thank you very much, Solomon. It's been an interesting time. I'm hoping we can do this again on another level. But until then, God bless you.
Thank you for having me.